It's a blessing to welcome on one of the top players in class of 2022. He's narrowing down his options in the near future, and that's Darium Ford. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Well, kind of walk us through this. I know it's been a hectic process now. You're back on the court. Both you had a successful high school season, also now getting to play some AAU games. Just how you feeling getting back on the court again?
I had an amazing time getting back on the court again. I love competing against great competition, and I just feel it develops my game overall.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff today. Obviously, you've been heavily in the recruiting process, as I mentioned. You have a ton of offers to get into. But one thing about you that everyone always talks about is your character, who you are off the court. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into that right now. Kind of take us through that, like just define yourself. Like if you could give like one word to describe Darian Ford, what would that word be?
Humble,
Mm-hmm.
humble. I just try to stay humble and don't let all the positive, all how great I am of a basketball player, or how I need to get better at this stuff on the basketball court. I just try to stay humble and just soak it all in and just adapt to any situation. So I just try to stay humble and not try to think too high of myself.
Now, how have you learned to do that? Because at your age, we know a lot of guys, it can be challenging. You're only under 18. Obviously, you start getting attention really like when you're 14, 15, 16. Like all this attention just like getting on you. Colleges recruiting you, media wanting to talk to you. Like you get all this kind of fame to a degree at such a young age. How have you learned to stay humble? Like how have you learned to truly stay locked in on your ultimate goal too?
I think reading the Bible has helped me. Reading the Bible has helped me. I read a lot of Proverbs and it's talked about wisdom and
Mm-hmm.
just wisdom and knowledge. And so I just feel, I think having more wisdom in my life has helped me to where I'm at right now.
Now dig a little bit deeper into your faith because that's one thing I do love about you, being a believer as well. Like we see a lot of guys, there are some that obviously are more vocal
Mhm.
about it too, but you obviously take it to that whole nother level where no matter really what happens, good or bad, you're always talking about God, trusting in God, it's God's plan. Like what's led you to be so vocal about your faith?
You shouldn't be ashamed to be able to talk about God. If you can talk about basketball, if you out at 11:30 at night working out, you can be up at 11:30 at night reading the Bible. So you shouldn't be ashamed because you know that can have an effect. That can have an effect on you if you're ashamed of God, but you're still trying to do all this. Without God, you're not able to do none of this stuff that you perform on the court. So you should always thank Him and give Him the praise.
Now, is this spiritual life of yours, was this kind of developed as a young age? Did you start really connecting with God at later on in high school? Like, when would you say you truly started that bond with God? You truly like felt like, okay, we have our own personal one-on-one relationship now.
Um, hmm, I would say, I would say third grade. I was always going to church at a younger age than that, but third grade, I'm a little bit older, I'm understanding a little bit better, and I just feel that that was the year.
Mm-hmm. And now for a guy of your status, like I mentioned, you have all this attention on you. Obviously, you have a large following. Like people are knowing who you are, and it's only going to grow from here on out. But what's kind of allowed you to still stay like vocal in terms of like maybe a locker room or in a sense just being around teammates? Like how have you learned to kind of be yourself and still stay as spiritual as you are around other guys that maybe you don't know if they are or are not believers?
I'm glad you said, I was just thinking about that this weekend, and I was watching different players and their style of play, and I would always try to, I'm watching NBA players try to compare my game to theirs,
Mm-hmm.
but I, I said, well, I just can't have my own style.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that? Maybe I could start a new trend. So I just feel that there's nothing wrong with having your own style. Just be yourself. And that's why I just try to tell myself from now here on out, just be myself and be happy with where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. So if you look at some guys in the NBA now, if you could look at multiple aspects, like we mentioned, kind of the spiritual stuff already, like faith-based. Obviously, we see guys like Jonathan Isaac, the Tim Tebow, Jeremy Lin's, like those guys that are heavily spiritual, talk about God and Jesus all the time. Like in terms of that aspect, in terms of your own game, different moves you take from guys, like who's like some players you look at to kind of help form you as a player, both you in the locker room as a leader. Like who's the players you kind of look up to?
As far as a leader, I would say LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
because he has great leadership with his teammates. He knows how to operate, and he works himself also.
Mm-hmm.
And far as style of play, I've been watching a lot of James Harden lately. I've been watching a lot of James Harden because I just feel that he's so crafty and he picks his spots so well. And I those are two people I'm watching. Those are two people that I'm watching right now.
Absolutely. Well, you come from Arkansas, which has always produced talent. It hasn't necessarily been regarded as like a California, a New York kind of area in terms of loads of NBA players. But like right now in this era, like we see some guys that have come from there before, but you guys had this 2020 class with Diva, Moses, Jalen, etc. That was obviously extremely special. Your 2022 class is looking extremely great with you, Nick, Joseph, the list goes on. You got Bryson coming up in 2023. Like this new era though of Arkansas, all this talent coming out of there. What's like being part of that?
It's a great experience knowing those players and the work they put in. They're great players, and I know that they're trying to reach the same goal I am. And just having people, you want to be around people that had the same expectations as you. Even though I don't hang around them, I'm not gonna tell any falsehood or tell lies that I'll be hanging around those players, but I watch them on social media and I see they're working hard. So, and I'm down here working hard by myself and I'm just trying to reach the same goal.
I think that's even more unique about you is not only from Arkansas, you're from a small city that hasn't always had a lot of guys coming from there either. Like there's not many people that obviously live out there. So what's it been like growing this image where you get this huge supporting cast and you've become the guy that you are today, where you really don't have everything going for you, not in a place that has all this media attention. How have you grown into this player you are today, growing up out there in Magnolia?
Social media, and Magnolia community. They're always behind every Magnolia player, baseball, football, basketball, tennis. The Magnolia community is special. I love Magnolia. And far as me being able to be one of the top players in the country, I think that's because of my dad, me, my uncle. They're just putting me out there on social media. I'm putting myself out there, and social media, that's one of the great things about it. People all across the country will be able to see you. So just putting yourself out there on social media gets you that attention.
So we're going to talk a little bit about this later too, but obviously you travel a lot because of AAU reasons and just other stuff too. So when you go out to per se a Texas, you go out to any other state to play, what kind of pride does it come from representing Arkansas, especially in Magnolia where you're from? Like what kind of pride does that bring with it?
Just to show all the states across the country that Arkansas has great players too, and that we can play at the same high caliber as the players in Texas or New York. Those players all across the country, that we have just the same potential or better.
Absolutely. Well, let's go into your own high school career so far. It's been quite successful, 2 state championships. You won MVP in both of those. Obviously, last year, you guys just fell short, but still 21-1 record. Like, walk us through this high school career and why you originally chose to go Magnolia.
I chose to go to Magnolia because I want to be the player that can make it out from small town like this. I love Magnolia. Like I said, I love Magnolia, and I just feel that you can make it from anywhere if you're good enough. And so coming back here was a pretty big dream of mine to graduate. Not saying I don't know what happened until that time, but for right now, I'm in Magnolia, and I want to be the best worker, the best player, just be the best self that I can be in Magnolia. And graduating from here is going to be one of the possibilities.
Absolutely. Well, let's go into that freshman season. You guys are state champions. You go 24-5. Also, you win MVP that year as well. And the unique thing is that for some guys, maybe you are a key piece of the team, maybe a key bench player, but you walked in there and you came in and led a team to a state championship as a freshman, which is not an easy task no matter where you're playing. How'd you manage to do that?
Just work hard. I just worked hard every day at practice. I tried anything to get better. Watching teams from Little Rock, the teams that we'd be playing against, in the way that we could win the game. And we took losses too, but I feel that made us even stronger because we had such a great bond, team chemistry off the court, and it helped us on the court. Because at practice we'd go at each other, and that made us better. So when we got to play against those teams, it was like, I wouldn't say that playing against those teams, they weren't better than us, but playing against each other every day made us so much better that it was kind of like another practice. It was just like another practice, and it just helped us so much, and that led to winning the state championship.
So if I would have went back and I told you heading into your freshman season, so before you play any games yet, that you're going to become a two-time state champion, you're going to become a top 50, top 25 type caliber player, you're going to have offers from pretty much every school in the country by your junior season or the end of it, could you have seen that in your future?
It was shocking. It was shocking, but that was the dream. That was the dream of mine, and I just felt so confident in my ability and the hard work that I put in that dream will come true. So, you was telling me that at that age before my freshman year started playing high school basketball, I would have told you I believe that.
Mm-hmm. So when would you say you got this confidence? Like you said, you put all this work in, but like when would you feel that you started saying, you know, I truly do believe that I might just be the best player every time I step on that court. Like I'm one of, not the best player in the country. Like when did you start feeling and believing in that?
Fourth grade after a tournament in Conway, we had won nationals, and I had a great tournament. It felt like all the horror I had put in had paid off to win the championship. So starting from then, I just had a lot of confidence.
Now, there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness, and I know people have discussed that with
Yes.
you. You are someone that always keeps it confident. You never cocky, as you said. The one word of
Yes.
humble. So, and especially even going back to the believer aspect, like we know, obviously, staying confident is always what God wants, but not going to cocky side. So, how have you learned to stay that fine line, stay confident as opposed to cockiness?
Not trying to be something that I'm not. I don't try to be nothing that I'm not. I don't try to draw too much attention to where I'm basically not living the life that I say I am. Mm-hmm. So I always try to stay true to myself. Like I said, I try to stay true to myself and just be humble, but also just stay true to myself.
So let's head into that sophomore year. Once again, you're a state champion, another incredible season as a team as well. But walk us through that sophomore year, like take us through that season, the ups and downs, and ultimately becoming a two-time back-to-back state champion.
It was a great experience. I feel like I enjoyed it. I tried to just enjoy the moments that I had playing, practicing with the team, going on trips with the team. I tried to enjoy the moment, but also put in the work on the court and off the court during practice. But just enjoyed it because I started to realize you have to value time. You got to value time because you're not going to get it back. You got to value time. And coming into this junior season, I want to value time even more, even though things didn't go out the way that we playing, but I value so much time because I'm never going to get this time back. And Lord say the same this year. I live to see it. I'm going to value time even more because this will be the last year, last ride. But hopefully I want to come out with the state championship win.
So walk us through your approach to this now, because you obviously have stayed at your school. You stayed there for 3 years now. And obviously, even after your freshman year, I'm sure some of the bigger prep schools reached out to you, especially after your sophomore year then. Yeah, at this point, like, what kind of led you to say, you know what, I want to stay in state, Arkansas, I want to stay at my school, as opposed to going to one of these big prep schools that we typically see a lot of guys that are ranked go to?
Just to show, like I said, just to show that no matter where you go, no matter what school you go to, if you're good enough, I feel that the schools will find you. And I'm not trying to be cocky, but this is just me talking confident. I feel that has paid off by me staying in Magnolia. I don't feel nothing has changed. Like you said, I have pretty decent amount of offers from schools all across the country, and putting in hard work down in Magnolia hasn't changed anything for me putting in hard work in Texas, and they're still rolling the same way. It just the social media and the determination that you have to get your name out there and the work that you put in on the court and off the court. Those are big keys, and keeping God first.
So has there ever been a point that you started looking and considering, like, what if I did take a move to one of these other big schools? Like, did that ever cross your mind? Did you ever consider that with your family personally? Like, did you ever consider those options?
I always looked at the option. I always look at all my options. Every time a prep school would call, we always gave it an option because you never know the circumstance. It could be a good option to go look into or go to that school. But I can't say that I would have considering going to a school, but I always looked at the option, and if that would have helped me become a better player, then yes, they probably would have been the school that I'd go to.
Absolutely. Let's head into this past year then. Obviously, like you said earlier too, it wasn't quite the dream scenario, the dream ending for you guys losing the Final Four, but still only have one loss, which is that loss. You guys are 21-1. Take us through the course of this ups and downs of the year and how you feel that you grew as a player.
I feel that it made me remain humble. Like that loss, it showed me that you're never too good. Any team can be beat. Any team can be beat. And I wasn't happy, but I was happy about the loss. It just showed me the work that I need to put in. And all that time through the year, we never lost the game, and we were playing hard every night. But that loss still showed that we still had work to do. So losing that game, that only made us better.
I want to touch up on a few different things before we head into your recruiting process. And one of that is also you off the court a little bit. I know you're also into horseback riding some. Obviously, you're a great person in the school world as well. So kind of walk us through Darian off the court. Like, take us through different passions and how you learn to balance basketball with everything else that you love to do.
Me off the court. I like to watch movies. I like to watch movies with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I like to watch movies. I like to eat. I love to eat. I love to eat my mama tacos and her steaks and burgers. I haven't been able to go horse riding yet. This after this school year, I haven't been horse riding yet. Mm-hmm. But I know I'm going to get the horse ride, so I'm ready for that. And I know that'll be a great experience. And just spending time with my family. I love to spend time with my family. I'm big on family. But my biggest goal is to enjoy every moment. Every moment.
And something I love just overseeing a little bit just on social media and all is the love that your dad obviously shows to you nonstop too. He's obviously been a coach for you. He pushes you, works you out. You guys work out together, and also just a big supporter. Like it obviously shows that he's done it the right way in terms of being a coach and son relationship. So how have you guys learned to balance that, and just what's it been like having him invest in you and having him in your life?
Having my dad invest in my life, it's been a great journey. My dad, he always tells me, work hard in whatever I do, try my best in whatever I do. And so whatever I do, if it's raking the leaves, and he made me mad one time. I had took a shower, I smelled good and everything. And he made me come back to the house and I had to rake some leaves. He just said, "You're gonna be the best smelling worker. I'll rake leaves." So just be the best at whatever I do. That's always been a big goal of mine.
There's a few different players from the area, and one specifically we talked a little bit about before we started this up, and that's Joe Johnson, who I know you worked out with before. So just take that. Mm-hmm. Everyone in the world knows, in the basketball world at least, knows who Joe Johnson is and what he brought to the NBA during his time there. So what was like learning from him, hearing from him, watching him, working out with him?
Learning from Joe Johnson was a great experience. Me going to work out with Joe Johnson for the first time, he just talked to me. He taught me, was telling me more stuff than actually working. It was like just a learning experience, this first go around. He was teaching me how the game works, how you have to do this, how you're on your own in the NBA. They don't tell you what your diet plan has to be. You have to find out this stuff on your own. And I just feel that was a learning experience. And I just learned about being more deceptive, more reaction. You got to have more reaction to everything you do in the NBA. It's a lot of thinking, but it's a lot of reacting. That's something that I learned going up there. And that was just a great experience and great trip.
Now, how did you guys get in contact? Did he reach out to you? Is it someone you guys knew that kind of got you guys connected? Like, how did you get to know Joe Johnson?
Shocked me. It shocked me because my dad called me and then he was telling me how I would be working out with Joe Johnson this summer. And I was like, I said, "Sir?" And I went to Twitter and I saw that he had posted that. And me and my dad always talked about working out with Joe Johnson. And when we found out that had came true, it was just a blessing from God and a blessing from Joe Johnson for even giving me the opportunity to work out with him.
Another guy is Devin White. I know you guys have a relationship too. Kind of discuss that a little bit. Like, what's your guys' bond and what's it been like getting to know Devin White?
He's just funny and having a lot of confidence. Like you said, he has so much confidence in himself. And like, no matter where he came from, he said he gonna put on for his city and for the state. because he knows that he has the potential to be one of the best players in NFL of all time. And that he puts in gives him all that confidence. And that's something I just learned from him. I watched him. He has so much confidence in himself. Doesn't try to be like anybody, just tries to be himself. So that's something that I look at Devin White. When I look at him, I see how much confidence he has. And that's just something that I would like to put in to my style on and off the court.
Now, on the AAU aspect, you also made a transition now. You're playing on Next Page Force. Take us through that, though. Like, why is that the program you chose to go run with? And how excited are you to be able to continue the season now?
Making that decision was a family decision. Mm-hmm. And I told them things that I want to accomplish this summer. And they just said, let's go to work. And it was just, that's why we're here right now. And hopefully we can get all those goals accomplished, which I think we will.
Now, you guys have a lot of special pieces on this team right now. Obviously, you said this weekend was kind of just gelling, getting used to playing with all of them. But going forward, like once you guys get that chemistry locked in, you guys really get to heavy middle of summer playing with each other. How good do you think this team can be?
We can be a great team. We can be a great team. We just have to all get on the same page. We have to all get on the same page and want the same thing and know our roles. And I'm just trying to develop as a player. So I'm just trying to develop as a player. And that's just my main thing this summer is to just develop as a player and be ready for the next level, high school season, and the next level after that for whichever way I go.
Absolutely. Well, obviously the big thing you tweeted out this morning discussing that sometime in the upcoming months, you're going to be obviously narrowing down your decisions now, whatever that final school is going to look like. But just kind of getting this recruiting process a little bit. You being a top-ranked player, you have offers from all over the country. You're practically going to be able to choose from whatever school you want to go to. So just take us through this whole experience right now, who you're talking to the most, and really where your recruiting stands at this point in time.
Who have I been talking to the most? I've been talking to a lot of schools because schools text every day. I can tell you, since I'm going to visit Arkansas, I can tell you that I've been talking to Arkansas a lot because I'm going to visit them for my first official visit. I talked to Baylor. I talked to LSU, Texas Tech. I just got done talking to Texas Tech when I was heading to Dallas. Because, Coach Corey, he just moved over there from Arkansas. And I talked to Coach Adams, the head coach at Texas Tech. Talked to Alabama. Talked to Vanderbilt. I talked to Ole Miss. Florida, Auburn. Those are a little bit of a list of the schools. I talked to Georgia Tech a lot. Georgetown. Those just some I can name off the top of my head because I just recently talked to them again. That's why I can name them like that. But that's what I can name off the top of my head right now.
Now, that first thing you mentioned, though, obviously Arkansas, we're going to get a little bit deeper into that program specifically, but you mentioned the key thing. You're going to get your very first official visit. You get to go back on campuses very, very soon. How does that make you feel? Like, I know 2021 didn't get much of that, and you kind of took a year off of going on visits, but to know that you have something locked in, you get to go back on campuses, get to meet coaches in person. How excited does that make you feel?
Oh, I'm very excited. I can't wait to get up there. Me and my family, we're going to have a blast. We're going to enjoy the moment. And I just want to build a relationship with the coaches this time physically instead of virtually. So this should be a great experience.
So I've got to ask you something. We know Coach Muss, he's a great, energetic coach, but there's one thing he's become famous for during his visits, and that's recreating the pictures. And I know obviously you're going to get a choice, and most likely going to be able to do that when you go up there. So if you could pick one famous NBA moment, I'm sure this might have been on your mind a little bit. Like, what would be your favorite NBA moment to possibly recreate with Coach Muss?
I have not thought about this question. I do not know. I have an answer for that question. I do not know. Because there's so many great NBA moments. I'm sure I'll be able to think of something when I get up there, though. I'm sure I'll be able to think of something. But at the moment right now, I do not have a clue.
So do you think it might be something related to LeBron or a Lakers theme or something related to that? Or do you think it could be possibly something even totally different than any of those?
It could be some. It could be something like LeBron, what he has done.
Hmm.
But it could be something. It could be a new trend that I bring to the table. So I don't know. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, let's go into this program a little bit more. Obviously, the big thing that everyone knows is that staying home for you. You're a loyal guy. And Coach Muss has been really good at keeping guys in state, like getting guys to be able to come to Arkansas so far. I've mentioned Jalen, Diva, Moses. So just having that hometown pride potentially. Like you get to go stay home, have family come out to support you. Your fans get to stay home, keep watching, rooting for you. Like, what would that experience be like for you?
I think there'll be a great experience ripping Arkansas, a state where I'm from. But I think anywhere that I go, I make it feel like home because that's what I want it to be. Wherever I go, I want to feel like home, and I know my family's gonna be 100% behind me.
Hmm.
And whatever happens, then I just want whatever school that I go to, I want to feel like home, or whatever route I take, I want to feel like home. So, and I'm gonna pray to God about it, and I know everything will work out right.
So would you be okay going to another state? Like obviously Arkansas is great, but going to a state far away from Arkansas and family, like going per se to Florida, going to a somewhere in California, like going to one of those states, like would that be okay with you? Would you prefer to stay closer to home? Like how do you feel on the distance aspect?
Just whatever is a better situation for me, a
Hmm.
better situation for me, dealing with the system and how I be played. That just has something that's going into with me making a decision. So I don't think the location of the school has anything to do with any aspect of my decision. Just me feeling comfortable and feeling like home.
Absolutely. Well, something else about Arkansas is Coach Muss, and as I mentioned, he's highly energetic. He's a fun coach, and clearly, obviously, a great coach from what he's done so far in his career. But what do you like about him? Like just talking to him on the phone. I'm sure you've obviously watched some Arkansas games before too. Like, what do you like about what he does as a coach on the court, as well as his personality? Like, what do you like about him?
I started watching videos of Coach Muzz before the season with Devo and Moses
Hmm.
happened, and I just saw he was putting so much. They spent so much time. The Arkansas coach, as far as Coach Muzz, they spend so much time with their players,
Hmm.
like as far as inviting them over for dinner, having trivia games, playing outside in the pool, and they just spend so much time off the court together that I think that's what made them so a better team this year is playing on the court because they spend so much time with each other off the court and they're always just trying to feel like a family. And like I said, family is a big thing for me. And I know a lot of more schools do that. And but as far as Coach Muss interacting with his players, he does a great job and he just treats them like they're bigger than basketball to him. He wants to have an actual relationship with them. So I watched a lot of that on social media this year.
Now, your first offer you received is not the typical kind of first offer that guys get. A lot of time we might see a low major, a mid-major offer come in first, but you came right out of the gate with Baylor coming out first. Coach Drew and that program offered you. So just got to take us to that first offer though. Like you get a school of Baylor's caliber come and offer you as young as you were, your very first offer. What was your reaction to that day?
Man, that was a big day because I was in the 8th grade and an offer like that. Not saying the other offers aren't amazing, but like you just said, the season that Baylor just had, and the talent that they always bring in, for them to be recruiting a player like me and offer me my first scholarship, that was just an amazing feeling. And we knew that it was time to put in even more hard work then. So that was a great day.
Who was the
That was
first
great.
person you told after you got that offer?
It was Twitter. Twitter. Because my mom and dad, they was there with me. So they
Mhm.
already knew I didn't have to tell them. But Twitter. Those first people that knew.
So, got to go a little bit deeper in this program. Obviously, they've changed a lot. They've become a lot bigger of a program since they offered you in eighth grade. Now they're a defending champion. Now they've produced multiple NBA players in the past few years. So, how appealing is Baylor to you right now? You see, clearly have success. They're just won a championship. They get guys to the NBA. Like they fill all the things that top ranked guys typically want. So, what do you like about Baylor, and how appealing is that stuff to you?
I love how they run their system. I
Mhm.
love how Coach Drew, he gets into interacts with the players as far as the assistant coaching staff.
Mhm.
But they have a great system, and as we saw this year, they had two of the top players that's going into the draft, Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler. Those are two great guards, and I feel that Baylor, they worked a lot. They worked a lot with those guards, and they were just trying to put them at the stage that they would play at the next level, and they showed it during their showcase games against Gonzaga and Arkansas. And those are great. Those are great guards, and they had great coaches on the side of them.
I've gotten to know a lot of the guys in that locker room as well as some coaches. And I know it's also a Christian school. It's got a lot of spiritual belief. Obviously, they pray before every game, pray after it. And I know there's obviously a lot of schools out there that do that as well. But is that something that you like? Would that be something that goes into factors into your decision? Like if a program obviously is spiritually based at all, has a coach that you can kind of relate to on the Christianity level, like would that be anything that is attractive to you?
Yes, having a relationship with God, it affects a lot of people in their life. So I would want to know if the coaches have a relationship with God or not. That would be something that I would want to know. I would
Without
want to
Well, another program that you also have an offer from is KU, and clearly that's a blue blood. So, like, what was it like getting a blue blood like KU and just kind of talking to them?
It was a great experience because this is my first Blue Belt offer, and we people across the world, they know that Kansas and Kentucky,
Mhm.
North Carolina, those are big schools, Duke, big Blue Blood schools, and that was just a great experience for me to have a Blue Blood that I could have an option to go to. I have an option to go to that, so that was a great experience. And I just talked to Coach Roberts.
Mhm.
I would say about 4 days ago, 3 days ago.
Mhm.
So the same time I had talked to Texas Tech about 3 or 4 days ago.
That's what I was going to ask you next. So, you are in contact with KU a little bit. Like, how appealing are they? Like I said, obviously, besides the blue blood factor, like Coach Self's history at the guard position has been incredible. Obviously, they're a winning team too. Like, how appealing and what do you like about Coach Self and KU?
I hadn't got a chance to talk to Coach Self, but I have got a chance to talk to Coach Roberts. I'm sure later on down the line I'll be able to talk to Coach Self and we'll be able to build a relationship. But I watch him coach a lot, and it seems like he pushes his guys to the limit, and he's very straightforward with them. That's from what I see on the TV, but I
Mhm.
haven't got a chance to talk to him yet.
Another big school that clearly all these guards love to go to right now. They're going to have 6 or 7 deep this upcoming year. And you mentioned them that they're already talking to you too, and that's Alabama. So, what do you like about Coach Oates in Alabama?
They're very energetic. They like to play fast, and like they're just like Arkansas and Baylor. Um, they interact with their players off the court. And when I went up there for an unofficial visit, I watched them practice, and they just try to they do everything in game situation. The drills are game situations, the shooting is game situation, and they really love to interact with their players, and they let their players play. They let their players play, especially their guards. And I think that's what they work on, like their guard play. And they know everything to take care of. As long as they work hard on defense, they know everything to take care of itself on offense. But they love to play fast, and they love guard play. They're very strategic with their guards.
You look at that Alabama, the way they play is they have a lot of point guards and shooting guards on the court at once. It's typically three, maybe even four at a time. Is that something you like, or would you prefer to be someone that gets maybe one or two guards on the court, or do you like having multiple guards that you can kind of work around with?
That's not a really big factor with me. It's just whatever I fit into. If it's with bigs or if it's with guards, if that's what's gonna help us win, and if that's gonna be able to allow me to play my game and um help with the team winning, that's who I want to play with. It doesn't matter who's out there on the court with me. I just want to be in a position to win and be able to play my game.
Now, you also mentioned Auburn, and Coach Pearl is obviously an incredible coach as well. What he's done at Auburn has been exceptional. So, what do you like about Coach Pearl and the Auburn program?
They're just like Alabama. They're big on their guard play.
Hmm.
Sharif Cooper, he didn't get to play that much this season, but when he got back, you could see that the coaches let him play, and everything ran through him. Everything ran through him, and he just he had a great season for the time he played, and if it probably would have been different if he had got to play for the other games of the season. But the games that he did play, he made a big impact. He made a big impact, and the coaches pushed him, and they helped him along the way.
Now, Coach BP obviously is a very energetic coach. We know he has a lot of passion. All the coaches on the staff do too. I know they're always dancing. The players are dancing. Like it's a much different atmosphere than some programs have. So, what do you like about that? Like, could you see yourself fitting in a program with that much energy and just always having fun dancing and stuff like that?
Yes, I can see myself in a program like that, having confidence. They have confidence in themselves. Coach Bruce Pearl, he wants all his players to have confidence, and he goes out to win every night. So I could see myself in a program like that.
So if you could build like a dream coach, obviously not necessarily name specifically, but like the characteristics they have, if they're spiritual or not, like their personality, like what would make up a dream coach if you could build one for yourself?
Coach that allows me to play my game, a coach that's straightforward, and a coach that's going to help me get better.
Mm-hmm. You know, you also mentioned Florida as well, and clearly that's a great program too. See what Coach White's built out there. But what do you like about Florida?
There's the same as the colleges that we talked about before. They're straightforward and they're very energetic, and they have a lot of guard play. Like Trey Mann playing for Florida, he had a great season, and everything. It seemed like everything ran through him. I know Keontae had got hurt, but they had a lot of guard play and they pushed their players to the limits.
I know another one you mentioned is Vanderbilt, and that's a program that we see has had a lot of ups and downs in the past, but all of a sudden, Coach Stackhouse seems to be turning some stuff around. Landed a nice recruiting class so far in 2022. Noah Shelby's involved, and we know Lee Dort's going out there too. But what do you like about Vanderbilt and also having the potential of being coached by a guy that's been in the NBA before, a successful career, and what Coach Stackhouse has had? Like, how appealing is that to you?
I like when I went up there. I went up there for unofficial visit, and talking to Coach Stackhouse was a great experience. Talking to the coaching staff was a great experience, and he talked to me just like Joe Johnson. He was telling me about how this works and how this will go and what you have to do, the things that you need to work on. And that was just a learning experience, learning from a great NBA vet that he is. He just taught me a lot, and he was just being straightforward with me, like I would want any coach to be with me. And he would tell me what I would need to work on. So he's a very straightforward coach, but it seems like he has a lot of energy with his players, and he just wants nothing but the best for them.
So what do you think about Ole Miss? Coach Kermit Davis obviously has been pretty great with the guards so far in his career out there too. But what do you think about Ole Miss?
A great town, great coaches. The coaches are straightforward, and they're pushing their guards to the limit. They had a guard that just came in from
Matt Morrell.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
He came in, and the coaches that they were pushing him and that he was going to play in. Obviously, people across the world saw, and he had a great season. So I feel they push their guards to their limit, and they just try to have them at the best capability that they can be at.
Mm-hmm. Now, another program that lands a lot of top guys. We know LSU is obviously a program that's pretty solid as well with Coach Will Wade. So, what do you like about LSU and what they bring to the table for you?
I talk to Coach Will Wade a lot, and from the time that we start talking to him, and we always been watching LSU games, he lets his guards play. He's gonna let his guards play, and there's gonna be a lot of shooting. There's gonna be a lot of shooting. Like he says, the defense will take care of itself, and offense will take care of itself. And just as long as they don't let the other team score on them, and he know that they're scoring offense, so he wants a lot of shots from his guards. He's getting guard play. Cam Thomas had a great season. He shot a lot of shots. All the guards shot a lot of shots. And so I think that's what Coach Wade, he puts a lot of emphasis into is his guards.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, we know that you have the aspirations of playing in the NBA someday, and you clearly are a guy that's going to evaluate like what do college coaches get done with guys at my position? How do they utilize them, as you mentioned? And we know you being a top ranked guy, is great, but we know that obviously isn't exactly how it's going to translate to the draft. Like just because you're ranked 40 something, you're not going to be drafted at 40 something. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of room to grow or possibly
Yes,
fall. So when you see a guy
yes.
like Cam Thomas, who I believe was top 20, maybe 11, 12, something like that in that range, obviously he did his job. He got him to the NBA. And a lot of these coaches we talk about have done the same thing too. But
Mhm.
how impactful is that for you? Like when you see a coach like Will Wade get a guy Cam Thomas to get most likely drafted high in the first round this upcoming year. You see Coach Nate Oates get guys like Josh Primo who get drafted eventually, and the list goes on. How appealing is that to you?
It just let me know I have to keep working. I just have to keep working. Um, Putting in work, it'll pay off. Like they said, hard work's always pay off. So seeing that and him being able to go that high in the draft or have the potential of going high in the draft like that, that's a great sign to show kids that as long as you just keep working hard and you just find the right system for you, things could work out.
Now we know some of these programs we talked about, and some other programs throughout the country too, have had FBI investigations. They've had a pass. Some are dealing with them currently. Does that factor in your decision at all? Like if there's a potential FBI fraction or something, any kind of form of that, like does that factor into your decision at all?
Yes, I want to be in a safe a safe environment that nothing should go wrong and everything is there's no bad slate on this team
Mm-hmm.
and that everything is taken care of. Even if they had a pass, but now they got it cleared up, that's what I would want. If they had a pass, that wouldn't harm. Um, I don't think that would harm my decision, but I would want to make sure that everything's clear, like before I go to the school. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any bad reputation to be put on my name.
So now down the road, obviously, we know you're going to be committing to one of these many different programs that's on the table. We may or may not have talked about them, but when you do commit to a team, what is that program going to be getting in Darian Ford?
They're going to be getting leadership, student of the game, hard work, score, defend, pass, whatever you want me to do to win. That's what I'm going to do. And I want the coach to know that I'm soaking up everything they tell me.
Mm-hmm. So now when you do narrow it down to whatever that final group's going to look like, and even if you may make a couple more cut downs after that, but both with those options and then obviously your final decision, how will college land you? Like, what do you want from a college to say that you know that you're going to feel comfortable saying, okay, this is where I want to go play at?
Just me building a relationship with the coaches,
Mm-hmm.
just like the phone calls and just building a relationship. That's a big thing. You have to build a relationship with somebody to find out what you're going to get out of it. So I just want the coach to be straightforward with me so I can make my decision best.
Absolutely. Well, a couple more things before I let you go. One of which I was like discussing to wrap up with is building a legacy for yourself. And I know that's something that all guys ultimately want to do for themselves. So down the road, when you are done playing the game of basketball, what do you want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court?
I just want I just want the people to remember me as a great person and
Mm-hmm.
a great player and one that would do anything to win. One that wanted to be the best on and off the court, be the best of himself, be the best of himself. That's what I want the people to remember me as. And I'm still building on that legacy right now. I'm just trying to be the best of myself that I can be.
No doubt, man. Well, we discussed faith a little bit, but I also want to wrap up discussing that a little bit more. So, kind of walk us through your faith a little bit more. Like, how have you seen God help get you to the point you're at today?
Talk to God every day. I try to read the Bible every morning, every night, and read a scripture every morning, every night. And just whatever, if I do something, I always want to ask, or before I make a decision, I always want to ask God to guide me in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray to Him, then I make the decision, and He'll show me a sign that I made a decision, and that has helped me in life. Everything I do is with God.
Amen, man. So, where would you say has been the biggest moment you've seen God show up in your life? Obviously, you've had a lot of ups and downs, I can imagine, but what's like the biggest thing that you look back at your life so far? Like, where's the biggest moment you've seen God show up in your life so far?
Oh, that I can't really give you the biggest time because it's always something big. But it's always even if it might be the smallest thing, it's so big because that just everything in life. So I don't have a this moment.
Absolutely, man. My final thing for you, give us your final three biggest goals you have set for the remainder of your high school career. So what do you want for that final year of your high school career to be? Like, give us your three biggest goals for that final year of high school for you.
State championship.
Mhm.
Um, show the people across the world, colleges, next level higher than that, that I'm ready to play at that level.
Mhm.
Even if it's my senior year, that I'm ready to play at that level now. And enjoy the moment. Those are my three biggest goals this year, because I'm not going to get this time back. This last ride. So
Mhm.
in the state championship, develop as a player that I'm showing the people that I'm ready to play at the highest level now. Perfecting my craft, and then just enjoy every moment.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking time to come on today. I'm excited to see what God got next for you, man. And good luck on the decision, man.
So thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for having us. You're one of the top writers in the country, interviewers in the country. And I just thank you for having me, and I hope the best for you.
Absolutely, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
You too.